Hello and welcome to your Heart's Path. My name is Faye, and we're going to jump straight into the collective energy reading for the month of December. I haven't really made many notes prior to jumping on today. I kind of felt like, well, I can see these 4 or 5 little stars above my crown, which I'm anticipating have little pockets of information that I'm going to bring through for a positive transmission today at the end of a extremely intense year. We've been stripped back, stripped bare. A lot of you have gone through some really life-changing initiations. There's been a lot of grief, a lot of loss, and a lot of change. We don't manage change at the best of times as human beings. It comes with a lot of fear. We've been kind of blindsided about much of the future that's kind of coming in. And for a lot of you too, they're already showing me initially you might have had some intentions around the direction of your future beginning this year, and it kind of feels like the outcome is completely different. And we're getting really close to receiving that beautiful vision or the adjustments to how things end up manifesting for you next year. But I also want this to be a message that doesn't have you feeling deflated, but actually gives you a point of celebration because of just how much you've let go of this year. We are at this really beautiful space where intimacy feels really deep because a lot of the walls or the barriers that go up in between us and someone else or you and somebody else that might have us filtering our experience or keeping little bits hidden. I almost feel like there's this like raw, sort of bare, um, deeply exposed feeling that comes from almost like not giving a about my truth. That's the feeling. It also isn't coming from a lens of something that has felt quite aggressive at times this year, like you've needed to get loud in order to be heard, or you've had to repeat the same conversations over and over again to finally land in that beautiful centerpiece where truth comes into fruition. It sort of feels a little bit more matter of fact. It can come across almost like a little bit dry at times, but I do feel like the sweetness and the warmth really coming through here, where we're kind of beginning to see and notice that what's been left behind is this sense of wholeness. What's being revealed to you is a truer version of yourself, and I want you to bring the same grace into those conversations that this has happened to all of us this year in some way, shape, or form. The people that you are interacting with, the animals too, they've been very sensitive to this um, are coming through with their truer selves too. And so be kind, be compassionate at this moment. It's a really beautiful time to step into new friendships. I'm going to say new relationships too. I feel like there's this really beautiful thread for those of you who have been looking for a romantic relationship, but sort of haven't had those opportunities or that feeling of like luck coming into your life. I almost feel like things can come in like full steam ahead here. I kind of feel like romance is on the cards. I also feel that there's a renewal inside of relationships, which have also kind of gone through the ringer this year, where you can sort of start to meet your partner through this new lens. So I'm going to say there's been like an upgrade through our collective sacral chakra, where we have this beautiful relationship piece, and it's like it's finally arriving in the heart. It's finally integrating into our experience, and with that comes a lot more kindness and compassion. But it's also like where you have those beautiful relationships where you feel like, oh, I can just really be myself. I kind of gain the sense that we're having this with most of our interactions. It's like the walls are kind of dropping away, the ego is surrendered a little bit. And with that, we're kind of dropping a lot of tension this month. So if you've been carrying a lot of aches and pains through the body, I kind of feel you're just kind of like backing yourself and going and getting that massage or stretching your body when it needs to be stretched. You're taking your vitamins, like there's almost like a bit of a consistency piece because of the amount of resilience. And I'm gonna say like discernment that this year has brought into your awareness. Previously, when we've had big lessons and big initiations like this, you almost get put in this like crossroads or this choice point at the end where you're like, you know what, I might repeat that cycle. It's almost like we don't have the opportunity to repeat this here. It's like it becomes a dead end. The past really has this experience of dropping away because we've had an upgrade. It's not behind us anymore. That position sort of feels like it shifted. So for a lot of you, you can also be kind of moving into this space where you have this like understanding or awareness, like, holy shit, I'm not going to be living in this country in the future, or wow, this isn't the career that I thought I was going to be in, or oh my gosh, this is the relationship of my dreams. You can be having these kind of like epiphanies and awarenesses that are allowing for your vision to kind of come into form. Now, the way that we're looking at vision, though, as we come into the new year, it kind of still feels to me like you've got two parts to the picture, and the third one is kind of coming in. It comes in this space where we don't have that contraction, that tension, that ego kind of steering the ship. I feel like this comes with these really beautiful upgrades. We're going to start to experience inspiration. And for some of you, this almost starts to feel like a reward. I know that seems like a strange thing because we never want to, we want to give to life, to our experiences, to our projects, etc., without that expectation of receiving anything back in return. But I do kind of gain a sense that for some of you, you sort of start to reap the rewards of your persistence, your discipline, and your honesty. I almost just feels like there's a bit more of an ease to some of this. That also comes with this beautiful experience this month. If you're feeling like super emotional right now and you're feeling like, whoa, I'm having this like final tumultuous big burst of fear. I don't know who that I am. You're going to land and ground. Like, let me give you that confirmation because you'll call the person you need for support. You will go into your practice. I can't perceive the resistance here like it has been. I almost feel like divine intervention, like resistance is kind of just like dropping away. It's almost like how someone would describe like the veil getting really thin. I almost feel like this collective resistance is kind of being handed over to a beautiful higher power. And with that, all of this dialogue and this conversation around awakening and the new earth, and whilst it's been swirled in with this kind of fear and we've got no idea where our future is taking us, this is the time where we need to be really responsible with the direction of our own energy, checking in with the conversations we're engaging with, saying no when you mean no, follow through when you feel really excited and inspired about something. But equally, it's a wonderful time just to take some time for yourself. I've seen this a lot, people needing to just go into their own bedroom and like shut the door and just take a big breath. It's almost like standing in front of the mirror and being like, hi, my name's Faye. It's nice to meet you for the first time. Because for some of you, your true self is like popped through. You've had these like masks drop away. And with that comes this really beautiful, intimate, deep-seated connection to a path that provides more meaning, um, more sort of from the body. I'm going to say that there's like this deeper listening to the wisdom. Guidance starts to shift from that survival place into more of the intelligence of the heart, your psychic senses, and like this sensing body that, might have taken the backseat or if it's had to be a practice to consider. So it feels like it's really stepping forward and you're really understanding almost on like a cosmic level that that's the part that you go through first. And what that means is, right, we're calling our power back from our environment. We're calling our power back from other people. There's a lot of opportunity for like really deep, profound, and powerful experiences with the present moment, a deeper connection to breath, all this stuff that you might be listening to me kind of going, well, that sounds really boring. But what that ultimately does is like totally shifts the perspective, the level of consciousness in which we're experiencing life from. And with that, it's like there's more love, there's more truth, there's more connection, there's more intimacy, there's more flow and creativity. And with all of these beautiful downloads that have been coming in, we're going to start to receive that third piece that kind of gets the wheel turning. And I'm anticipating that if you don't have a break booked in over like the Christmas period, that you're going to need little moments of just like really quiet, really silent. Silence is a practice too, yeah? Go sit in nature by yourself. Have these little moments to just take a breath and really meet this new frequency and this beautiful vibration within your body and your being. It's nothing to be afraid of if you're having a hard time right now, too. I almost, again, want to give you this lens of like, it's an opportunity to let this go in this beautiful wave that we're having that's in support of this transformation. Let me put my phone on silent. It is on. It's okay. In this beautiful transformation, that we have this like the energy is in service to letting go. Next year, it's action. We've got this movement forward. So, where you've built this strength and where you've built this discipline, for a lot of you that have been like really determined and persistent with your path and connected to your truth, you're going to start to see the manifestation of that in your physical world. I also do feel like we've got this like simplicity mindset, but not simplicity from a space of lack. Like life is simple. I'm happy in nature. I'm happy in the quiet. I'm contented just listening to music or doing my painting or whatever it is. It's not perceived as simple as an excuse for lack or because I can't get bigger or because I can't expand or because I can't offer more value. It's really just coming from this space where it almost feels like it's a ring. I'm seeing it almost like a ring within your aura. Like we need a part of our being that is spacious, that is simple, that is undefined, which allows for us to be able to expand and fluctuate and change and grow. And there's kind of this feeling of like nothing is permanent anyway. And so let's just kind of give life a shot. But I really like, I can see these like love hearts. They're showing them to me like cartoon love hearts, just like blossoming here, there, and everywhere. I really feel like this emphasis on like romance this month, romancing yourself, romancing your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your partners, even your family members. I always have this lovely memory of my dad putting love heart chocolates under mine and my siblings' pillows on Valentine's Day. And just like little pieces like this go like a super long way. If you're thinking of someone, check in with them, send them a little message and just say, hey, I've been thinking of you. And, I just want to let you know that I love you and I see your courage and your bravery. Celebrate people right now, okay? Because also, like I'm seeing within my own field, these incredible people launching projects and art pieces they've been working on for years and courses that have come through from the divine. And I take that extra mile and just kind of lean in and hello, we see you like as a part of I think celebration is really important. And I know that celebration around Christmas time and stuff can be really big for a lot of you. Whereas last year it was this feeling of like, we'll just go along to the event and sit through the breakfast and, work on not reacting. This year it's kind of got this feeling, well, just don't fucking go if it's not in alignment. With an understanding, right, that it doesn't have to be that aggressive piece that was like backfiring from this earlier on in the year. It's more of this feeling of like, well, that's your, if there's a reaction or, somebody else doesn't like this or it doesn't sit well with them, let it not sit well with them. And we don't have to fix that. We don't have to give our power away. It's just this place, well, this is my truth and that's your truth and that's all okay. So we sort of have this ability where balance starts to almost arise this month through this ability to hold multiple perspectives, but still have an understanding of what your truth is in the center of all of that. Because the ego isn't something that we're just kind of like trying to stab. And yes, there are elements of death that take place in this, and there have been these huge sort of ego deaths that are really painful, really hard, lots of tears. Don't get me wrong, like I see you in your strength and what it takes to go through these dark nights of the soul. But we're beginning to rise. We've gotten to the very edge of that contraction where everything's been squeezed, 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 squeezed. And now it's like the light starts to come back in, right? As the light starts to come back in, we start to get these beautiful perspectives. We find that center point within the body and the being. We feel that balance. And when we've got that balance, it's like you're connected again to your own truth. It's not about figuring it all out for the future. You can have ideas and inspirations and things that are coming in right now, write them down, but you might not feel like you want to take huge amounts of action or like, burn your candle out from both ends until we sort of get to the towards the end of almost like January. Let me finish that thread that we were on there just before. The ego piece. Thank you. So it's more we're building a different type of identity and this is what makes you unique. This is what makes you special. And so I think there's been a lot of emphasis on just kind of like cut the head off the ego, throw it away, dissolve it, you will be egoless. It's just not the truth. And so it's about integrating this experience and then rising in the body and the being. So we're coming from this beautiful heart-centered space and beyond. And that the ego is kind of in service to that too, right? And so I kind of feel like a healthy expression of the ego is going to be animated over the next month. Because for some of you, it's kind of like, oh, I don't want to wear the sparkly dress because it makes me feel like I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. And where it's like, I want to wear the sparkly dress, I'm going to wear the sparkly dress. So like, I've kind of got that like almost. I don't know, like those words like spiritual gangster and stuff are kind of coming in. I know that sounds really silly, but I kind of feel like there's lightness coming through. And when the lightness comes through, we have this beautiful relief. I was going to say release, and yes, that too, but softness, warmth, nourishment. I don't know, it's like cuddle your friends more, you know? I kind of feel like we're less afraid of touch as well, for whatever that means. I do perceive that we've purged a lot of trauma around intimate relationships, some of that sexual, some of that just within our romantic relationships, lots of triggers from the past, obviously. And sometimes when those experiences are happening, we don't trust our own ability to utilize touch from a space of purity. I kind of feel like there's dialogue that's come through within the collective and the cultural bodies of like permission and consent, and some of this stuff is being practiced where there's not so much fear in all of that, like asking someone if they'd like a hug before you launch in and it not feeling like, oh, this is a nervous, awkward, weird practice. It's just being considerate of the person that's in front of you because you're not so far ahead or planning the conversation or trying to get things so right because you're just in this lovely place of surrender. It almost just flows really beautifully. And none of this kind of needs to be nutted out. It's a lovely time to kind of plant those intentions for social situations. And if you kind of feel like you're at your fullest capacity, you don't want to be around people, start setting the intention to have some time by yourself. And in that, connect with the elements in nature. There's so much swirling and conversation and activation of these beautiful elements that live within our being. I kind of sense that there's going to be, this is kind of part of our new theme. I'll be running a course around this in February, mapping your matrix. We bring this conversation around with the elements, and I've seen this in other spaces where, you know, we kind of go through these little, we go through moments, don't we, where we're sort of bringing language to new information and data that's coming through. And language is really important because it helps us discern truth. But I do feel like this emphasis on the elements, and I think it's part of our awakening, this beautiful transformation and connection with our earth body. It feels much more grounded next year. I know we switch into the horse, don't we? So there's kind of like a heavier trot with all of that. We do too have the fire. And when we're bringing emphasis to any one of these elements, we're in preparation to bring and hold this beautiful balance, holding multiple perspectives whilst also having the clarity to be able to tend to our own body, because I think that's a huge emphasis here. Um, when I'm almost seeing this like holding the perspective between like heaven and earth as well. So this lovely strong point in the earth body, whilst also having this awareness that everything is energy. And so it's kind of like we balance it out both ways. The reason I say that is because you can go into nature and just connect with the water. You can go into nature and connect with the earth. You can go to nature and connect with, you know, fire and air and even ether, light and consciousness. I just sense there's dialogue around this, and it would be a really beautiful part of your experience to bring this into your practice. Like we really are never alone. And my sense with this too, and there's been even just more conversation in my own field around fairies and elementals and dragons and mermaids and these beautiful mystical mythical creatures that are peering their heads because there's an awareness that we have support from, and we are in support of the elements here on earth. And for some of you, that's like your warrior spirit, right? You're in service. You might have been looking at this as being in service to human beings, where in fact your purpose, your calling is here for the elementals, is for nature, is for the whales, is for the dolphins. It's like the pieces that are happening here with the like the salmon farms and things and the chemicals that are going in the ocean. I can feel the building of like what's his name? I hear him, the planetary roar, right? It's like that experience of, and not fighting back from aggression, but fighting back from divine inspiration, where we can really start to put our feet down on these structures that have been, or this light as intelligence that's been landing. Let's create beautiful, powerful structures out of this, so as that we as a human race and as planet Earth can grow into, I want to say like to unify, to come into a place where we're working more as one. And I know in a space where it feels like we've had absolute pendulum swing of that, where we've seen the absolute dark side of humanity, I gain a sense that we have this like power internally that comes with this beautiful fire, this beautiful grounded fire, where we're really going to start to steer the ship in a completely different direction. So it's wake up time, and the motivation is changing too. So if you've built a business around wanting to just create wealth versus wanting to contribute in some way, that it would have crumbled away. It doesn't mean that your idea or your dream or your purpose doesn't hold weight anymore. It just means the angle in which you're coming at it from has needed to be redefined. And so we've matured. With that, there's still going to be conversations. You might still come across, like, I can see just the word like conflict dropping in, but it's very easily resolved if you can just like stay with it. We are feeling a little bit more present. We are feeling deeply sensitive in a way that the sensing body, clairsentience, clear empathy, it's louder than ever before, and we're trusting it in the moment. And I think that's the most important thing. If you get a headache around a particular person and the pattern is there and it won't go away, and you kind of get this feeling every time you go to spend time with them where your field begins to contract and you've looked at your part in that and there's nothing left to learn, this is the sort of time that you do walk away. So there's a ruthlessness here, um, but it's not coming from pain. It's just enough. For those of you who have family members struggling with addiction, I do perceive that this is a time where I know that you might be tired. I know that you might kind of feel like, oh, she's got to be on, it's got to hit rock bottom. Please don't forget to intervene just to check in. Same with the people that struggle with depression and these sorts of pieces, which you can start to, at this time, almost feel a little bit tired of, a little bit like this is never going to change. Please remember that you bear the light inside of you to hold like faith in other people and in their journeys. And so check in. Like if you have a friend that is struggling, that has been for a really long time, isn't the time to give up on them and walk away, even though it might feel I've kind of just explained that scenario in that other situation. It's the sort of time where the conversation needs to deepen and we need to start asking those beautiful questions like, why is it that you're doing this in the first place? Let's get deeper to the root. So I think it's going to be a busy time for those who work in hospitals, mental wards, those sort of things. And it needs to go there, guys. We need to have these conversations. We need innovation. And we're going to be seeing a lot of that next year. My sense is we're going to have all sorts of different technologies, ways to be able to measure and track energy, frequency. This is all a conversation of the future. And right now, we're looking at different ways to be able to harmonize our bodies more to be able to deal with the kind of the current pace in which things are happening. And with that, we need to be able to slow down and connect to the present moment. So if you need to go back to baseline pieces, picking up like the power of now, like, or you've not read that and you're looking for some kind of a thread, like let's go back to the basics so as that we can let this beautiful light drop in and we've got that balance from between heaven and earth too. Our men too, like I had this conversation with Spirit actually yesterday, and I wasn't 100% aware that this was coming in for the collective, but here you go, the memory has arisen. I'm sensing for our women are beginning to see the change in men. So whilst I want to hold that perspective with that every little piece of us holds that beautiful masculine and feminine, and there is masculine and feminine within me. I'm talking more about our men, our fathers, our brothers, our boyfriends, our lovers, if you are. Um, I'm a step away from the politics because I just don't have the language to be able to do that with confidence. Regardless, the men in your life have had a really big shift. The woman, from what I have seen, where I'm doing readings, where I'm mentoring, where I'm helping people, the women have been really frustrated with their men. The women have been leaving their partners. The women have been kind of giving up, like he's never going to change. I've been hearing this for years, this sort of repetition. Men that are more in tune with their feminine side have been able to manage some of this, but it's almost like the masculine energy within them has needed some keys, has needed place, has needed a role within society. And my sense is we start to come into a little bit more harmony. I'm going to just describe this in the best way I know how. I feel like the men have had a little bit of an awakening When I say awakening, it's not just happened in these higher chakras. I'm beginning to perceive this coming down into the throat, which means that you're going to start to be able to have different types of conversation with the men in your life, father, brother, boyfriend, lover, partner. There's an openness there for a conversation around truth, around it's almost like a tricky energy to perceive. I feel like this awakening has started to like open up conversation around spirituality, them taking responsibility. And with that, I sense that's where that beautiful, like romantic piece or where the harmony inside of relationships is kind of starting to become more grounded. I kind of feel like men are understanding their role within the picture because for a little while there, it was sort of like their role was almost taken away. They didn't really know where to stand. Women have been, there's just been a funny kind of a dance. So my sense is there's like this space that's opened up for the men to rise into, and they know how to now. It's like a little epiphany has gone off inside because also some of them have realized, oh fuck, I just lost everything, or I'm never going to achieve what I need to achieve unless I do the thing. And a lot of that has been this connection from the wisdom of the body, bridging it over to the physical plane. For some of you, you're going to hit burnout. For some of you, you've been working far too much and you haven't been able to take a break. For others, it's almost been the opposite, like the laziness and not having your sort of priorities in order. And again, you might just feel this energy internally. We're going to start to find a little bit of balance here. And responsibility isn't this punishment. It's like, oh, I just understand that's the way through for me. So I do kind of see that the light's there at the end of the tunnel. I kind of sense pregnancy as well around this time. You could hear that kind of news around like Christmas. I also feel like conversations, people talking about that, like third baby, second baby. I really feel that that's kind of around. I see the dragon too. We talk about the horse and the fire next year, but I do kind of gain the sense around like that beautiful mythical history being part of our teacher, history being in our body and our being, in our blood, in our DNA, and that we might not feel like you have the qualifications to speak up on a certain situation, but you have this knowing inside of you. And I want you to start to communicate some of that with the world around you because there's like all these keys. I can just see like keys everywhere. When we have keys everywhere, we've got doors that can be opened. So double check when you're taking that big leap forward that you're taking it from your heart. You'll feel that courage. It's okay to feel the nerves, and start to see that fear as something that you have the ability to transform. And you can see just how powerful your mind is because you've also had that direct lived experience of just how quickly you can fluctuate in a day. How you really are on different levels of reality. Clarity in dream space as well. I'm going to begin to wind things up now because we're at that half an hour mark. There is going to be clarity coming through in dreams. I myself had that lovely experience, when you wake up in your dreams, I was like, oh, I'm dreaming last night. And that to me was really just a lovely confirmation of other pieces in my life that are finally integrating where I get to experience the benefits of that. And I kind of gain a sense that a lot of you will have that. I see that with the women in my House of Mystics group. They've been working, and they're going to start to have these profound experiences where it's like all the hard work you've been doing is felt through every layer of your being. And that comes in the dream space, but it also comes through with synchronicities and lovely sort of messages from beyond that can really give you the courage to just keep going right now. And yeah, I think it's actually like a really super beautiful time. It's a huge big ending of a chapter, right? When we have this lovely big ending here, I'm just holding up the Sea Serpent card, which is the Ouroboros for those of you who are just listening to the audio. We have those wonderful cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. And whilst that's going to happen at varying different speeds and timings for people over the next few months, this rebirth takes us into a space where all of this beautiful truth that we could hardly perceive prior to you've had to have these experiences that you've had in order to be able to perceive the whole truth. And you end up just feeling like a quirkier, happier version of you. And there's a selflessness that comes with this. Instead of talking about doing the thing for community, you just kind of get up and do it. I think time off phones as well is really important. I can see a lot of you getting off the internet at this point in time. If you've got a business, starting to have conversations around alternative ways to share your beautiful work. For those of you who've been working at home, like looking at the other environments to work in. If you've been working in an environment, you need some more time to yourself. Perhaps there's a bridging over of working at home. You can sort of start to see where these changes are happening in your physical place in order to bring more balance into your reality. But we're going to have a little bit more of an excess energy because we've just been so exhausted and so fatigued and so had to surrender to this experience. In that beautiful exhale that happens because we're right at the very edge of that contraction as it starts to get bigger and that beautiful light comes in and things start to feel a bit more easeful. We're going to go through this beautiful portal with the awareness to be able to appreciate the entirety of this transformation. I sense then new images. Well, I'm seeing like the baby lamb. It's like new images really start to form, where you get that third piece, which allows for your whole picture to really come through. And we have a brand new relationship with fear coming into next year. It's no longer something that holds you back. It's something that you stand in front of and you face, and you begin to really see the illusion within that. Around it, being the part that has separated you from truth. It's a separation of your divinity, and that you have the power internally, perhaps using something like the elements within you to begin to transform that on the spot. And I just feel like that's what takes us into this beautiful space where we're feeling far more connected to our fellow human beings, to animals, to nature, to this beautiful physical body, and we can kind of get on with it. And that's the feeling I have for next year. We really do need to the energy in order to innovate and really begin to steer this ship into more of a vertical position whilst tidying up the mess that we've created in this horizontal plane, with consideration for the landscape in which we've got our feet upon, meaning the oceans, the rivers, the forests, the deserts, the animals, our part to play in the ecosystem. And those whom aren't contributing with love, kindness, consciousness, and peace, even though it might seem like on the outside these people are getting away with that stuff. You can only imagine what it's like to close your eyes at the end of the day, and to imagine the kind of pain that that must be coming from. So if we can really hold the light and pray for each other, and to try and hold that perspective that everything is happening for a reason, even if that feels really uncomfortable, we can hold the truth of the light that wants to come through, that allows for transformation and change, and really just trust the bigger picture. And there's a bit of a trust fall that takes place here for some of you. Some of you have got to leave and go and do something really brand new, but I know that you've got the courage behind you to do that. I can see this like big stampede of beautiful animals all there, like ready to support you. So I'm going to leave it there. It's been really beautiful to spend this year with you. If you are in Tasmania, I'm going to be opening up something exciting. I'm going to be doing some in-person readings at Amrita Wellness Centre from Within. You can find them in Bellerive. Best to probably jump on my Instagram page where I'll share their business page. There'll be an opening to book a session there. I know for some of you, you've wanted a reading, but you haven't wanted that in-person stuff. So you're going to have an opportunity to come and see me just one Sunday a month. The House of Mystics waitlist is open. I'm going to have some mentoring spots coming up in January, but I will be going on break on the 22nd, just for a couple of weeks to have some rest and a little bit of reset. And we'll be coming back for Mapping Your Matrix, which is that beautiful course that works with the landscapes and the elements internally to help you create the conditions for your intuition to bloom. For those of you who are curious about your psychic abilities but don't necessarily aren't necessarily called or contracted to fully awaken psychically, there's a really important relationship here just with our sensing body, or our clairsentience, our clair empathy, that's a part of our humanness, that I believe is coming online for a lot of people. And this is the perfect sort of introduction. Sets you up to do the House of Mystics if you want to do something a little deeper. And it's just beautifully complementary for some of you who aren't interested in that, but you'd like a little bit more structure, so as that you can connect to your intuition at will. Other than that, thanks for spending this year with me. I look forward to going into a new chapter with you. Please share this with your friends and your family. I know I spoke quickly today. Sometimes I do. If you need to come back and listen another time, do. Follow your hearts, everybody, and I'll see you in January. Lots of love. Bye bye.